look at this, they'd think that I'd be putting that motor in the car. Things done. I got the alternator somewhat on. The top bracket is stuck on the harness though, so it's not 100% on. I thought I'd try to do something while I was waiting for my gasket. The motor mount's on. Obviously the starter, transmission, clutch, all that's on. The rear motor mount bracket's on. Yeah, all that's left is just to bolt those 6 bolts to the intake manifold with the gasket in it, and then plug everything back in, which won't take long. Most of the plugs are on the intake manifold. There's only, I think, like 3 or 4 on the transmission. And then I'll be ready to go back in the car. I'm keeping the distributor off just because I don't want to wreck the distributor right now. It's supposed to be sunny all the way up to Friday, so there's no real rain. I've been throwing a tarp over it when I left it last night, though, but all in all, it should be perfectly fine how it is. Yeah, it's crazy that just rusted right off there. But look at how gunged up the screen is too. So it was probably coming off one way or another. And unfortunately, I don't have any brake clean. The screen's actually really clean, but I'm having a brake clean, and there's a little break in that gasket there. So I'm gonna try to grease it up as best I can to at least let it seal. If it gets idle issues, it's probably gonna be right there. So I'm just gonna try to fill that with a little bit of silicone right now just to get it by. I think that's mostly everything back together. I don't trust any of these little clamps. They obviously came with the hose kit that was on here. I replaced that one with an OEM one. But I only have so many options, and I don't have the money to go and buy a whole bunch of hose clamps right now, especially at the price that they are now. So I'm just using back what I can. But that one almost felt like it was about to strip. And I think the reason it might have broke was this one. I think was rubbing against that for all this time, so it probably weakened all that. But who knows, with the motor running like how it was and vibrating, could have just snapped off from that pretty much. But yeah, I think everything's back together. All the harness and everything, all the bolts are back in. So yeah, the next thing I want to do actually is really quickly pull spark plugs out of Dad's motor, pull spark plugs out of this one, see which one's better. I'm gonna stick with what's in there. Those look pretty damn new. And Dad's just look aged and pretty sooted up, especially the one that was on that one cylinder. So even though these are slightly better plugs, I'm gonna just keep with the newer looking ones. So somebody must have changed the plugs in that at some point. They never changed their oil, but they changed their spark plugs. Okay, I checked all the plugs. One's burning a little oil by the looks of it, but that's pretty normal for a Honda, but they're all in decent shape. I'm going to clean up this mess and probably try to pressure wash this, and might try to pressure wash that transmission a little bit off, but I don't want to get water in the motor or nothing. And then I'm going to clean all this crap up and then get the car back up here. I have shifter bushings I want to do on the car too, so I got to get back underneath it to do that. I was cleaning things up, and then I also decided to put the dust shield on this one because this one didn't come with the dust shield. So I pulled it off that one, but I don't know where I put the other two bolts. While I was looking for them, it's now decided it's going to piss rain out. So I might move that motor over there right now and just tarp everything. And then I wanted to pressure wash this, which I might still do in the rain. But yeah, I'm going to just tarp the motor and everything right now. I'll plug what I can on it, but throw a tarp over it. It wasn't supposed to rain till Friday, but go figure that it's now pissing rain out. And with the look of the sky, it's not going to stop anytime soon, so I'm going to just tarp it and keep this out of the rain for now. There, it's tarped up. I will carry on to something else. I'll clean this, and then I'll start getting the Honda moved back forward. But hopefully the rain doesn't last too long. It's kind of the downfall of not having a shop, though. I just don't want to, like, if it was raining a lot harder, and if it starts raining harder like that again, I just don't want to be doing all that in the rain. So the rain finally kind of sort of let up. It's still a little damp over there, but I figured with the pressure washer out, even though I put most of the hose and everything away, I got the pressure washer back out because I'll pressure wash this engine bay a little bit. But I was mostly thinking about this rear motor mount. I'd like to pull the bolts out of it, and Annie sees it, and all the bolts somehow, with no effort at all, have come completely free. So I'm going to yank the rear motor mount just to anti-seize everything, so when I do get around to putting this mount in, it comes out. Plus I want to see how ugly it actually is under all this. Seems pretty solid, but I'm going to spray it all with oil and everything and then put it back. And I'm just going to generally pressure wash some of the grime off all this. I do want to keep the undercoating on it. Like, I'm going to spray oil back there and respray all the oil after I pressure wash it. But for the most part, this is like the only chance for a little while that I'll be able to do all this. But like, even then there's got oil on it already. So I'm just going to do a quick cleanup. But I was thinking about this mount and I figured let's just pull the bolts out, anti-seize them, put them back. And then that way, if I do change it with the motor in the car or something, then hopefully it won't be as hard to get these bolts out. So yeah, they're not too bad. It's just everything looks real bad. It's like brand new on the inside. And then, yeah, as I feared, it's pretty crusty looking. I really wish I had the money to powder coat all this stuff properly, but I'm just gonna spray a bunch of oil in there. Annie sees everything, and then that way, when the time comes to deal with it, it'll just come out hopefully. And now I'm gonna let it dry, and then when everything's dry, I'll re-oil everything. I'll re-oil that whole subframe. Anything that's rust starting, I'll just coat it in oil for now. Like I said, someday the car will be back at this point. Hopefully not for a little while, but someday it will be when we're putting another motor in it. And then I've also got to pull these fenders off, so we'll see what's on the other side of all this. Because I think most of this rust is actually starting on the outside of the car from the wheel welds. Same with that one back there. I'm pretty sure that's from the other side. And these fenders I don't think have been off since we got the car. I vaguely remember something about the hood being replaced and the windshield being replaced before we bought the car, but that was like almost 2 decades ago, so I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that it was in some kind of crash at some point in its life, but nothing's like tweaked or anything. But that could be one of the reasons that some spots have rusted more than others. But again, I don't know what the history of it fully is on it, at least I don't remember anyways. It's almost ready to go in. I oiled the subframe and all the really ugly spots, and then back there, and then all down through here. That's all oiled. It's gonna be a pain in the ass working with it now that it's oiled, but it was a lot better to oil it with no motor in there because you get down around stuff. And then I had to go get my jack out of the truck, which means that I had to unload the truck. And there's a few Honda Civic parts in the back of the truck. We have fenders. Of course, the passenger side that I need has a whole bunch of dents and rust in it. So that sucks because it's color matched too. I would have just bolted it on if it was as clean as the driver's side one is. And then we have an SI one that has holes in the side. And then another SI one that doesn't have holes in the side. So that parts car must have had a fender swapped. And I think it was this one because the clear coat's peeling on it. But those ones are actually pretty clean aside from right here. Then we got spoilers. I got a clean hood off that SI. Then 3 bumpers, rear, and 2 fronts. But all this stuff's probably going to be more or less posted for sale, and if it doesn't sell and I need it, I'll use it. But like this rear bumper's color matched, but has the all cut out for obviously an exhaust. But it doesn't look like the same shade of blue, so I don't think I'll run it either. We'll just use whatever the best is, but eventually some of the stuff will be sold because I don't have room for it all. Or this clean hatch that's actually really clean in here, and then has huge dents all through it. So that sucks. Other than the SI one, super rusted in there, but perfectly straight. So I might try to sandblast that one and clean it up, just for the sake of having a good hatch. But yeah, this is just one trip of stuff that I got from my dad's. Really good thing is though, this front crash bar is super clean. It does have a little bit of rot somewhere on one of the seals right in there, but I can cut that out and sandblast and powder coat this whole thing because the front crash bar on that one's getting a little ugly. This back one is pretty rough, but you can technically fix that and powder coat the back one too. And then another rear disc conversion, but it's really rusty and seized, so it's one of those things where it's more better parts. And that's hopefully the caliper bracket that I need to fix that bad bolt on the front of that one. It looked easy, but of course the hardest bolt to get to didn't want to go in smoothly, so I ended up pulling the mount back off and working it in and out multiple times with a better looking bolt to clean up the threads because I don't have a tap and die. Surprise, surprise, no manifold gasket either. So I have to try to sand that. Try to reuse the old one for now until I can afford to get one. I kind of expected that to happen. It seems to be the way a lot of this is going. I knew I was forgetting something, but I also got to put the ground back on there still too, so back over here. It's just 2 bolts to take that back off. Yeah, put the torque mount in after you put the rad in. That's the right way to do it, right? It's not bad for about an hour of just throwing everything back together. All the brackets are pretty much in place. Nothing's broken. It all clicked back together actually super well. I don't trust any of these though. I guarantee once I finally get the money for coolant and put coolant in the system, at least 1 or 2 of those are gonna leak somewhere. But we'll deal with that when we get to it. I also need an exhaust gasket. I just bolted that on there right now, so there's something. Even if I did run it, even if it leaks, at least the exhaust isn't just blowing out the front of the motor. Extra calipers that I have are for the other side, so I don't have a caliper bracket for this side, so that's another expense that I don't have money for right now. And I just try to bolt the caliper on enough that the car can move around, but obviously I won't be taking it out on the highway or anything anytime soon, so add that to the list that it needs a caliper. That pin was harder to get back in than it was to get out, but it's in. Well, I hate to end it here. Very anticlimactic that I'm not starting the motor, but I still need a new fuel filter. I need to drain the old fuel out of the gas tank. I need an oil filter. I need oil. Actually, I did find some old 1030 that I can put in the transmission. Found some 530 that I have. And I need coolant. I can technically put water in it to start it though. But yeah, I need fluids. Everything's closed today because it's a long weekend. And I don't have a whole lot of money for any of it right now anyways. So the next video will be dealing with the fuel system, changing the filters, getting it ready to actually run. I'm probably going to put a little bit of ATF through the motor to clean it up a bit. And then flush it all out. But that's kind of where I'm going to end it right now, because I know that I probably have enough footage to make a full video. And instead of sitting here waiting days on end just to start it, I'd rather just release this video and do everything I need to start it in the next video. So sorry for being anticlimactic on the whole engine swap thing. But everything's in, axles are in, I can put it back down on the ground, but I'm going to leave it up just for the sake of being able to access the oil change and everything. A huge shout out to Dan for lending me that 12-point socket to do the flywheel and everything. And yeah, that's just That's how it goes sometimes, I guess. Like, I don't have the money for this. It's not like the Miata where I had a big chunk of change and I could do the Miata project in like a couple weeks. This one I'm not working during, so I'm really like budgeting money on this. And this is definitely the proper definition of a budget build, put it that way. And how much footage happens from the next one, I might start tearing into this interior a little bit, start going through it, seeing what's all really there and how bad the floor is and how bad everything else is. I did pop these off, unfortunately, and in here is getting pretty rough. This side's not too bad. This side's the reason that I popped it off. It's starting to get really bad down through here. So what I'm gonna have to do is, before we pull the windshield out of it, I'm probably gonna sandblast it, because in that way I don't have to tape off everything. I can technically sandblast right against the glass a little bit, but I don't have a sandblaster right now, so that's gonna be a very future thing. I don't know how much in the future, but hopefully sooner than later if I can get some money together, because I would like to change this windshield. I do have the windshield secured already, so it would be nice to get that done before winter, but we'll see what happens. Put a link to the first and second video, and just generally, I don't know when the next video will be up. I'm hoping a week from now. It'd be nice to try to do a video a week, but with the way money is and stuff like that, it's just whenever I can get a chance to do anything, I'll do it. But yeah, it's in, and like I said, in the next video it will be running. Whether it runs good or not, we'll find out, but it will be running in the next video. Really appreciate it if you like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps the algorithm on the videos, and YouTube channel's been doing a lot better lately, so I'm gonna try to keep an episode a week, but no promises. Basically work when I have the money to buy stuff and get things done. But that's all for now, I guess.